As we move into a new year of Destiny 2, we will receive a new expansion, many seasons, and also events to continue the evolving story of the universe. Over the years, the game has left many questions unanswered. I'm sure many players hated this, and a big one was the darkness. But as the game continues to grow, it seems now is a good time to answer some of these questions as we make our way toward Lightfall and the Final Shape expansions down the line. Today we are going to discuss some of Destiny's biggest plot holes that are still open, and why they might be patched up for a satisfying conclusion over the next year. From Exo Eramis to Guardian Rasputin and beyond, let's get right into it. Before we begin, I would like to credit Reddit users Lord of the Abyss and some of the comments like this one from Dobie Rams who inspired this video. As I was browsing, I realized, hey, there actually are a lot of plot holes waiting to be addressed, and we could see some of those this year. Seasons like to be unique in their own right, like we had Cabal with Kydal and then Elixni with the House of Light, so some of these can definitely fit in their own seasons. The link to that Reddit post can be found down below if you'd like to take a look at it, and it is also worth noting that there are tons of other smaller plot holes like Teox from the Books of Sorrows who could still be alive, but let's focus on the more prominent and recent events for now. CALUS and the Leviathan. We've helped Emperor CALUS many times in previous activities like all the raids and raid layers that took place on his ship. When that content was removed, so was his vessel and also the character, nowhere to be seen and his ship absent from the Nessus skybox. So with Destiny, as some things get vaulted, Bungie tries to fit it in with the story as it seems so far. The last we heard, Emperor CALUS vanished and no one knew where he or his starship went. The most recent knowledge we have on this character was thanks to the Presage mission, which is going to be removed sadly in the Witch Queen. Here we learned that CALUS was using scorn infused with darkness to try and speak with the darkness itself. CALUS wanted to become a god, and this communication attempt seemed to be successful from dialogue heard from this mission.
It seems CALUS has fled. Omsat states, Emperor CALUS has left us, his shadow broods. The legionaries spread rumors saying, he merged with darkness, he is dead. He fights to save us. This is an address from CALUS to his crew. I chose Galrun, and his frailty betrayed us. He was too pure, too alone. Our new guests are neither. A glorious chain of dark minds, an open mouth for the one in the darkness, that it may sing in exaltation of my majesty. Greatness recognizes greatness. To invoke the attention of the end, our offer must be great.
One of the theories is that CALUS communed with that voice in the darkness, and either it granted him some power or it's using him for its own benefit. Will we see CALUS in a future season, possibly inside Savathun's pyramid ship? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Eramis, the FANATIC, and other characters coming back to life. Sometimes enemies in Destiny don't like to stay dead. We've experienced this, how many different times with Taniks already? Others like Fikrul die and come back on a regular basis. That's part of who this character is. Us going into that hallowed layer strike is essentially spawn killing him. He comes back to life, he dies. He comes back to life, and he dies again. But think about this for a second. Now that we will no longer be able to do that hallowed layer strike because it's being vaulted, will Fikrul just continue to live? Now of course the real answer to any of these is that Bungie will let him live if they want to use him in the future, but it's fun to think about for sure. If Bungie wants to use Fikrul, he's going to be back as he gets resurrected all the time. You also have more recent antagonist in Eramis from Beyond Light. Eramis was obsessed with the power of stasis and the darkness and believed that she was the only one who should wield it. And boy did we prove her wrong in that final cutscene. Eramis was then frozen in stasis on Europa.
It It will not end this way. It can't. What?
So it kind of answers the question a little bit. She's still alive and frozen here on this platform. When defeated, we even see a chunk of her health still remaining, so that proves it a little bit further. In a Destiny 2 edition of Edge magazine, we see this image, which appears to be Eramis as an Exo. So this makes me wonder, was this a concept for Atrax for the Deepstone Crypt raid, or was this Eramis at some point in development? And if she did return someday in the future, would she be an Exo? It'd be pretty fun to get a new raid edition or a dungeon back on Europa to hunt down the new Exo Eramis. Rasputin's Exo Body. In Season of the Arrivals, we witnessed the supercomputer Warmind Rasputin going dark on Mars. Anna Bray was able to salvage what she could of Rasputin and put him into an encoded engram, which she placed on her starship along with empty Exo chassis. With that cargo all loaded up, Anna ventured to the city to get away from the Darkness Pyramids on Mars, and that's basically what we know as of now. OSIRIS had these lines at the beginning of last year.
I came back to the tower, but you were in a meeting with Ikora, so I went to see how Anna's work with Rasputin is progressing. She's made several failed attempts at importing his consciousness into the body of a dead Exo. Anna has a brilliant mind, but she's squandering herself trying to salvage the remains of that Golden Age tyrant. She should put her talents towards something more productive. Maybe I'm just bitter.
So not sure about you, but I can definitely see a season based on this entirely. If you're new to Destiny, one of the first game's original plot concepts was Rasputin was in an Exo body. So with those voice lines and some hints in the lore, this could be coming true sometime in the near future. Asher Mir. This one is kind of a stretch and tinfoily, but it sounds pretty cool. Asher Mir was believed to have been destroyed on Io when the pyramid ships arrived. After saying goodbye to our character, Asher entered the Pyramidion, battling security forces and advancing to the lake that he always spoke so much about. The man reached up to the lake with his metal arm. He then reached with his arm of flesh. He reached with both and brought the lake down. This was the last we heard of Asher, but if you paid attention during the override last city in Season of the Splicer, you can find a friendly Vex Harpy who has a message in Morse code which basically says, "Assistant," which is something Asher Mir always used to refer to our Guardian as. So future Vex season with Vex-infected Asher Mir sounds cool to me. The 9, good versus bad 9 and using our light. Now there isn't much on this next one besides some lore in the game, but we will no doubt see something on it someday. This is of course the 9. Among the members of the 9 of them in total, 5 of them want to help humanity and 4 of them do not. We know thanks to the Red War they've been watching us and using us to try and research our light, possibly for themselves. So the origins and more likely the motive of the 9 has to be revealed at some point, right? With other beings like Savathun obtaining our power, the 9 could be next. With the conclusion of this season, the Season of the Lost, we can assume Savathun will release Osiris to us if her word is kept. Maybe this could be a season in and of itself. Will she just give him back to us, or will we have to go out and find him? He's likely been through a lot over the past year, perhaps hive torture, interrogation, and things like that, so he's probably not in the best state of mind at the current moment. Other weird unexplained things include entities like the Exo Stranger's fish. Now, they wouldn't really base a whole season off this, but it is something that was left in the open. We've seen this thing once and never again with no mention in the lore. It appears to be unlike anything we've actually seen in the game up to this point, comparable kind of to our ghost, but we don't know what its purpose is. Does it help Elsie time travel? Is it something else entirely? Who knows? Anyway, Guardians, that's all we got for today's video. Some theories on where Destiny's story might go in the seasons to come over the next year. If you'd like to see some other Destiny lore and mysteries just like this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Anyway, I thank you very much for watching. My name's Evade, and I'll catch you Guardians in the next one.